for INTC. Hi there, this is Evan and Rebecca and Ray for INTC 2610, and we are doing a project on Google Hangout, Twitter, and Skype and how they're going to be used in the classroom. I was assigned Google Hangouts, Rebecca was assigned Skype, and Ray was assigned Twitter. And I'm going to lead off with Google Hangouts, which we're actually using right now. There's a bunch of options for uh, educational purposes. Here's a little slideshow I put together. Google Hangouts. I found a teacher named Alice Chen who loves Google Hangout. It's one of her biggest tools in the classroom. She has her own blog, Alice in Wonder Tech, and two of the activities she likes to do with her Google Hangout in class is a mystery location exercise where you Google Hangout with another class from another country or region, and the classes try and guess where the other class is from. I found this really exciting as a history major and a big geography buff. And the other one was a video chatting a guest speaker. It's really hard to get a guest speaker in class all the time to talk about anything you have going on in class, whether it be English or math or whatever. But with a guest speaker, you can have almost anyone who wants to be in your class speak for you. Uh, Alice Chen had the educational secretary or actually have a conference with their class, and I thought that was amazing that someone of that high caliber would do that for the sake of education. But that's pretty much my my spiel there, and I will pass it over to Rebecca.
Okay, my digital communication tool was Twitter. I found a lot of articles promoting Twitter in the classroom, but not really many teachers using it for the purposes towards the kids until later in the grades. So while researching all the different ways you can use Twitter in your classroom, I realized that having students involved, you'd have to teach an older grade. The first two teachers I want to talk about kind of go together. They are first and second grade teacher that work together, that use Twitter more for parents and other teachers to benefit from. Miss Cassidy she updates her Twitter every couple weeks unless they're doing something interesting and a lot. She posts about challenges they do as well as activities like making potato pancakes and their math ad stories. It's very similar. Miss McLaughlin's class is very similar by posting activities. She posts more often and informs parents when she will be out, which I thought was a really cool feature as long as the parents are still checking. I looked for a higher grade teacher and I found Mr. Brown. He posts towards his students rather than parents, and he adds things on there like when tests will be, as well as PowerPoints that he had, notes if students were absent. They have like A and B days, so he'll just remind students of that. I definitely think that Twitter can be useful in classrooms, but mainly in the upper grades when students have their own Twitter account to follow. I think middle to high school students would benefit from their teachers tweeting what they might have missed or need to study, and especially when their test is. Students in lower grades can also get that information from Twitter, but would have to rely on their parents to update their account and keep checking their teacher's account. Next up, we have Ray, who will be talking about his Skype.
For my first example, I found a ninth grade world geography course in McKinley, Texas, taught by one Brad Peach. In a similar way to the mystery spot, they were talking to a group of people over in Russia, grade equivalent, uh, and the Texans and Russians were discussing the similarities and differences in their life. One of the other things that I found was, much like Evans, a lot of people have been using Skype for the mystery call. One of these examples is Miss Sylvia Toliciano. She's been doing it for a little over a year now. Show you. She was nice enough to supply. There we are. She was nice enough to supply some pictures from it. And basically what happens is that the students will take turns showing each other their classrooms and giving some clues about where the other classroom is, and they take turns trying to guess where the other person is from. Some other uses are the group work, the general usage. This is all just, this is a little slideshow that she had put together for her own class involving it. And then last I have Miss Allison Bullock, who's been a grade school teacher for a while now. She posted 2 separate threads on the Educators PLN network asking for troubleshooting. She's been using Skype for her early education students in order to play Pictionary with other classrooms. She often did Pictionary within her own classroom, but found that the students would kind of get tired of it with each other. So in order to involve the whole class, they were able, in order to get the whole class involved, she pitted her class against another class. Evan, there are a lot of similarities between Google Hangouts and Skype. Which do you feel is better?
Well, this is my first experience in Google Hangouts right now. I've used Skype in the past, and neither one for educational except right now. But I'd have to side with Skype. I feel it's been around longer. I knew Skype before I ever used it, but Google Hangouts I think is relatively new, and I've had some issues with it so far. But other than that, I'd say Skype would probably be superior right now for an educational purpose. Rebecca, Twitter. How do you feel that's do you think that's a good use in a classroom, what you showed us before, or can you tweak it a little bit?
I really liked seeing what the teachers had to post. I really appreciated when the teachers would say when they were absent, especially working in a classroom, seeing with kids with special needs, they can't always adapt well. So if they don't know that a teacher's going to be out and they're just kind of surprised with it, they get a little overwhelmed and they might have some type of, breakdown or something. So I think that that's really awesome, especially for the parents to see and prepare themselves as well as their students. And then I would have loved to be in high school and have my teacher tweeting out, "Don't forget the homework," because I'd be like, "Oh, there it is." So, I mean, I really, really like Twitter in the classroom. Ray, what are some ways that you think you would apply Skype in your classroom?
I didn't touch on it out of the examples I chose, but I really like the ability for Skype or really any video streaming service to give some tutoring on spot. A lot of the problems, at least in public schools, is man hours to students. A lot of students, unfortunately, don't know that they have questions for homework until well after office hours or desk hours. And even if it's not always an option, having some level of availability on Skype for showing your work, for showing them, diagrams for a quick IM, it's a very good way to have a relationship with a student on an IM or video streaming service that you can separate from your personal use.
All right, right. So, and the three of us all talked before this, and we kind of decided that we thought Skype was the best out of these 3 platforms for educational purposes. I'd say we all agree on that, right?
Yes. I think no matter what age group you're teaching, you can use Skype to communicate with others. You can do virtual field trips. It's more tested. It's more kind of known. So as of right now, I think that really sells me on Skype.
Google Hangouts offers a lot of really cool integration with other Google account features like YouTube and Forms and such, but as of right now, especially in our experience with this project, Skype is definitely a lot more stable and tested.
Yes.
Right, and Ray, in your research, Skype is still free, right? Or there is a paid service to go with it, I think, but probably
There's a
still
paid
free.
service. Skype accounts calling other Skype accounts is completely free. The only place where you'd start incurring costs is if you're using it to call a landline
Hmm. Okay.
or a cell phone or any other number.
Right. And as of right now, like you said, Google's very good with the integration, and everything's still free. But I think it's up and coming, but not quite ready to take on Skype yet. Either of you guys have any closing remarks on this?
No, I think that
I
that
just
sums it up.
Yeah, I think that all three can be integrated into a classroom depending on the teacher. So I think they're all really great tools to use.
All right, great. Well, I think that wraps up our video today. Thank you. I was your moderator, Evan, and I had my lovely classmates Ray and Rebecca, and we're gonna sign off now.